I don't know how to distinguish myself when you're in the Beethoven style, but given that it is the Beethoven style, I thought I might play to it. Perhaps there's not enough time.
Dear guests from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, as Mayor of the City of Bonn, it is a great pleasure for me to welcome you here today in the International Conference Center Bundeshaus Bonn on the occasion of the opening of GDN 1999. Your conference is an important event, supposed to start building a bridge between politicians and researchers, to support networking, to give new incentives, and to bring different partners together.
The Global Development Network, devoted to enhancing democratic governance at the local, national, and global levels, to promoting dialogue and to strengthening the processes of consensus building. Underlying all of these efforts is the pursuit of knowledge, global knowledge about general principles, local knowledge about how those general principles play out in the multitude of local contexts over our vast globe. Knowledge based on well-constructed theories and meticulous analysis of the empirical evidence. I believe it's only through such an open discussion and active research that we shall break free from the chains of ignorance, the traps of poverty, the grips of elites, and the blinders of ideology and self-interest in our quest for more democratic, equitable, and sustainable development throughout the world.
I would like to welcome you to the launch of the Global Development Network. The aim of the conference is to showcase recent research by researchers from around the world with a primary emphasis on those from developing countries. We would also like to connect researchers with policymakers and donors and discuss and make plans for the GDN products, governance, and future development. Our special hope is that this conference will provide many opportunities for networking among these groups. So the name of the game is to network.
If our policies are to build strong nations and to eradicate poverty and to enhance our people's livelihood, it is very important that we bridge this gap between our people's knowledge and the policies that we make on their behalf.
A rough back-of-the-envelope calculation suggests that we've spent about 750,000 in putting together the products as they are now, conducting the survey, preparing this conference and other activities. So we'll be continuing, and I'm sure the cost will remain at that kind of level per year. Second is that we've already put money into the Global Research Project. We've financed the thematic papers which have been done so far. We're now in the stage of moving to the country studies, and we will put in another 700,000 into the country studies. We've already put 700,000 into the thematic papers. And the third and the most important area for us is the regional research competitions. We've felt that this is an important way of getting the networks to function as networks, and we are now just about to release a tranche of 2.5 million to the 7 networks to fund the next round of the research competitions. That will conclude a 3-year tranche which we received from the Development Grant Facility at the World Bank, and on the basis of what's transpired at this conference, I feel confident that we'll be able to go back to Development Grant Facility for a second 3-year tranche, which means we'll be able to repeat the kind of funding that we've been making so far. So that gives you a sense of where the bank is putting its money. As things progress, I'm sure we'll be adding bank funds to other activities as well, but those are the ones which are already committed.
We must analyze, we must point out who benefits from policies, we must be able to maintain credibility, and because of the Global Development Network, I believe we have the new tools in hand to reach out in the global economic development community in new ways to beneficiaries and to future analysts alike. Thank you.
At the World Bank Symposium on Global Finance and Development held this month in Tokyo, Finance Minister Kiichi Miyaza proposed that the World Bank would institute the Development Awards to honor the outstanding academic achievements such as building new development models or on such development country-related issues as poverty, education, health and environment, and experimental practices in the field of development. As a result of subsequent discussions, it now seems likely that development awards will be presented within the context of GDN, and I think this is definitely appropriate. I hereby formally propose the establishment of the Development Awards. If I could gain your kind approval, I would also like to suggest that the first award ceremony take place at next year's GDN conference. I hope that the establishment of this award will encourage all concerned in development, whether it is theory or in practice, and that the achievement in theory and in practice will be widely shared among all of us at the annual GDN conferences.
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Johannes Rau.
Democracy depends on tolerance. It offers the citizens the chance to participate in decisions about their fate. It permits a competition of ideas. It allows society to breathe. If you look at the history of the industrialized countries in the last few centuries, or the history of today's developing countries, you can see that successful economic and social development is more often to be found in open democratic systems than in closed autocratic systems. Yet, democracy is more than just open competition. Without solidarity, democracy cannot survive in the long term. We need solidarity at three levels. Firstly, between the rich and the poor, between the strong and the weak within our own society. Secondly, between rich and poor countries, and also between the strong and the weak in those countries.
This meeting really, I felt, gave us a glimpse of the beauty of a better and fairer world. Because what we saw here was really a world of horizontal dialogue. It was a world of listening to each other and getting engaged in each other's thought. And it was a world of recognizing differences in circumstances and differences in views. So I'm very grateful to all who have worked for this meeting that we indeed could have this experience. We in UNDP would definitely like to see GDN grow and succeed, because we feel that policy ownership and national ownership of change is only possible with indigenous thinking, with indigenous research capacity, with national policy dialogue.
We will now hear and interact with Mr. James Wilkinson, the President of the bank, by one of these marvels of modern technology.
What is necessary is to bring together global forces and global thinking to try and affect the course of poverty and the course of development. And central to that is, of course, all of you, is, of course, the network, the global development network of research institutions that come not just from the north, but from the south, so that, as Inga Kohl said, on the basis of equality, on the basis of mutual confidence and of discussion, we can have together a dialogue which can tease out the best ideas that we have together and help to allow policymakers and persons of action to take action in sufficient scale and in sufficient time. So I have a hope that by the time we meet in Tokyo, and I personally have on my calendar that I would like to attend, that by the time we get to Tokyo, that we can talk not just about what I am sure will be great progress in terms of the commitment of the Global Development Network to work together for effective development purposes, but that we might also have by that time a conceptual, indeed maybe even a practical framework in which we can begin to put together what amounts to a global development gateway in which all of us can be linked not just on research but on practice, on best practice, on what is going on, linked also with the figures that are provided by various institutions, so that for all of us we can take advantage of this new and remarkable possibility that's made available by technology. This is something which will form part of the key to our ability on a global basis to bring about equitable development. And I must say that I regard as totally central to that the activities of the Global Development Network.